everyone, I'm Sophie. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be attempting to turn this pair of denim jeans into a denim skirt. So I've been after a longer length denim skirt for a little while now, and I have been given quite a few pairs of denim jeans. As I found, if people know that you're into upcycling, they tend to give you their unwanted clothes. So I have got quite a few pairs of unwanted jeans. Maybe the zip's gone, maybe they've got a hole in them. These ones are perfectly fine. I think they just didn't fit. So I am going to attempt to make a denim skirt of my own. Haven't actually done this before, and in my head the method seems quite straightforward, but who knows with these things. So let's give it a go and find out. So the only thing with these jeans is that they are men's jeans, and I have wider hips. So before I start, I'm going to make a quick note of my waist measurement, my hip measurement, and how long I want it to be. I'm wearing like a slightly longer than knee length dress today, so I'll probably just measure that length for reference. Yeah, I've got a couple of other pairs of black jeans that have holes in them, so if I do need to add bits in, I may just add in sections from other jeans to make it fit. So first of all, I'm just going to measure the waist and the hip measurement on the jeans. So that is 44 and 47, 91 centimeters from the waist. And then the hips, I'm just going to measure the widest part. These jeans are bigger than my measurements with clothes on at the moment, so that's good. It's better for them to be too big because then I can take them in a bit, whereas if they were too small, then I would have to add bits on. And then I'm just going to measure how long I want them. So I think I want it 55 centimeters long, but I will probably cut it a bit longer than that because it's easier to cut more off than it is to add on. Okay, so I'm going to cut them at 60 centimeters down from each seam. And to be honest, this is going to be quite a rough cut because I can go back and neaten it up later. And then to get an equal measurement, I'm just going to fold that on top of this one, line those top seams up, and cut the other leg as well. And then maybe I'll think of something to do with these offcuts. Actually, if I did need to do alterations, those offcuts would be really good to use for them. So now I have these ready to go. Now I've got the length. When I finish my skirt, I'm going to leave this edge raw, as I like that look on denim when it's slightly raw and frayed. So next, I'm going to cut up the inner leg seam, and then, yeah, I think it's fairly straightforward from there, but let's cut up that seam and see how it goes. I have cut up one side seam, as you can hopefully see, and now I'm just going to cut up the other one. In fact, I may need to cut right up to the bottom of the zip. I don't really want to change anything around the zip area because then that'll get a little bit more complicated. I should probably cut the back up to the same level. I'm going to lay that overlay of the fabric on top of each other where it naturally wants to sit. And then I'm going to grab some pins and pin that in place. I'm going to pin it down nice and flat. And then I'm going to do the same to the front as well. Just want to get it as flat as possible, but potentially that is going to need to come over a little bit more. Just might need to pin it and try it on and figure that out where that needs to go, because right now that's looking quite high up. I'm just going to measure this to see how long it is, and that is currently sitting at around 33 centimeters. So let me just measure that on my body and see how long that would go down. Okay, that would go down not quite as far as I'd like it to. So I'm just going to quickly slip this on while the pins are in it and just see how it fits before I start sewing. Okay, so I've just been and tried it on, and the opening is way too high, especially at the back. It needs to come down a few centimeters, but the good news is it's quite wide at the side, so there is space that I can take out. So I just need to figure out the best way to do that. So I'm actually going to cut this a little bit further up. See if that helps. My issue right now is the more that I pull it in, there's going to be a tuck somewhere, and obviously don't want a tuck in it. So I'm trying to work out how to keep it as flat as possible. Okay, let's leave the back like that for now and go back to the front. Ideally, want to bring these closer together, but then it makes all this fabric fold up. Oh, it's a bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Okay, because these are a bit elasticated, I may just need to like ease that as I'm sewing and hope for the best. That's looking a bit more modest, and that's actually added another 10 centimeters onto it, which is better. Okay, let's go and stitch this and see how we get on. And I think eventually I'm going to need to take some space out of the waist as well, so it fits me better on the waist. Okay, so I have my pinned skirt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and follow the stitch line that's already there to stitch it together, and possibly finish these raw edges as well so they don't fray. I don't mind if the bottom frays, but I don't really want it to start fraying on the inside. Okay, let's start with the back. I'm trying to follow the stitch line that's already been created to make it look more natural. Following the curve of the seam round. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky because there's so much fabric going to be in my way. I'm going to get to the end of the curve. I'm going to stop, leave my needle in the machine, lift the foot up and pivot the fabric. Okay, so I've got to the end of the slit now, and what I've been doing is just tucking the edge of the raw seam over on itself and just sewing it. So I'm just going to carry on sewing down that straight seam. Okay, I'm just readjusting now. It's just hem the other side of that raw edge just up to the slit. So hopefully you can see that I've sewn up the back seam down to the slit, and I just folded these edges over at the back and just stitched them over like that. So actually that looks quite long at the back now. Doesn't look too bad. So now I'm going to do the same on the front. I'm just having to help it slightly over the really thick bits by just lifting the presser foot slightly and turning the needle by hand for just a couple of stitches. Okay, so the front is sewn up, and somehow it looks like a skirt, and the slit is much more modest at the moment. Let's go try it on and see how it fits. So this is the skirt on. The length is much better, but as you can see, it's absolutely huge on my waist. So I'm going to need to take some space out of the waist, which will hopefully then stop it sagging at the front and the back, and hopefully do something about this little tail I've got going on there. So I'm going to pin it now, and then I will go back and sew it. So I'm pinning how much I want to take out of the top, and then I'm pinning there because that's where it needs to go back to 0 and not take any out over my hips. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, and when I take it off I will measure it to check that I'm taking equal amounts out each side. So I don't mind if it's not the tightest fitting skirt in the world. I like it when you can actually move in your denim skirts. So if it's not like fully tailored to my body, then that won't matter too much. Quite often I wear things that are bigger on the waist and then just belt them. I'm going to do those alterations and then try it on again. It's really difficult to do alterations on your own body. It's much easier if you have someone else here fitting it to you. But okay, so obviously my pins fell out the second I took it off, so I probably should have used safety pins or tailor's chalk to mark it. I'm going to guesstimate it now, and if I need to take more out, then that is what I will do. If you can see, I have 2 silver things there, so I don't want to stitch them. So I think we're going to try and stitch in between them, and yeah, just see how that goes. Okay, so taking about 2 centimeters off the waist there, it's just stitched down to the seam, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. That's what it looks like from the outside. Okay, now let's sort that out. And that is what the back looks like. Still some weird bumps going on. But let's try it on again and see how it goes. Okay, so the fit of the waist is much better. It could still come in a little bit more, but it's not as bad as it was. And then I've still got this weird bump at the back that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to figure out how to get rid of that. Yeah, I'm going to figure out how to get rid of that. And then I think it's nearly there. Okay, so after thinking about it a little bit more, I've decided that the back looks strange and I can't get that weird bulge out of it. So, and I think the way this seam is just looks a bit weird for the back of a skirt because it's not quite symmetrical. So I'm going to unpick this and then I'm going to do it again. So obviously this isn't the most perfect procedure, and if I was making clothing from a paper pattern, this would be much easier because I could go back to my pattern on my toile and make the amendments and fit it again. But because we're going from an already made garment, it's a bit of trial and error and making adjustments here and there. But that's what upcycling is all about. And it's fun to give it a go and just try and see how it turns out. Thank goodness for a trusty seam ripper. Okay, so that's undone. That's quite messy, but hopefully I can neaten it up. Now what I really should do is sew this together before I cut any more off. However, I am just going to cut these two apart. So it's one seam, and then I'm going to cut it off there as well because I needed to take some out the back anyway. I'm going to get rid of that belt loop. I could always unpick it and add it back on at the end, but to be honest, one belt loop isn't going to make a massive amount of difference. Here we have one side. As you can see, we've got a very, very strange shape going on. And then there's the other side. So ideally what I want to do is kind of have a curve, I think. Cutting this bit off, but I'm not 100% sure. So I should probably sew it and then cut it or pin it so I don't end up cutting anything off that I will later on need. Hopefully if I do it this way, it'll make it much neater. So now I've just lined those two up on each other. I'm just going to pin a rough line that I want to sew down. So I think I'm going to leave the slit in the back from there. And actually let's flip it over the other way because this side is thinner. I think because there's a little bit of elastane in the jeans and because they've already been worn, it's stretching in weird places. Like it's stretching as I pin it and as I sew it. So I think I want to go like up there. Doing more amendment to these jeans than I actually wanted to, but considering they're not my jeans and I didn't try them on first, what do I expect? Right, let's take this label off. Okay, so hopefully we'll have a nice curved line from there, and that should be the curve we're going to follow. Okay, let's sew this up. It's literally the roughest sewing anyone's ever done. Okay, so I'm going to go and try this on again. Now I've sewn it. I've only sewn one line of stitching. If, in the unlikely event that that has fixed the problem at the back and it fits and it looks good, I will come back and I'm going to go over it again to reinforce it because obviously I don't want the seam at the back of the skirt to ever split. So let's take all the pins out and go and try it on one more time. Okay, well, they are a bit better aligned. There's still a slight crease over the back, but it's not as bad as it was, and it's still a little bit big on the waist, but at least I can wear the skirt out for lunch. It is so warm. Keep trying on this skirt and having these lights on. I'm pretty happy with the fit. It's pretty comfy, and I'm actually going to trim some of these seam allowances off so they're not sticking out and making me look wider than I need to. So much pocket space as well because they're men's jeans. Now it fits at the back. I'm going to go over the seam again. I'm just literally going to do another row of stitching next to it on the outside, so it's not taking off anything from the size of the skirt. And then I'm going to neaten all things up like this bit, because that's been tickling me while I've been wearing it. And then the skirt is done. So in theory, one side of the seam allowance is wider than the others. In some places it's not, because I made such a mess of this earlier. But the side that the seam allowance is wider, I'm going to fold over and stitch it down so you can see the stitching from the outside. Okay, this is by no means the neatest seam, but as long as it looks neat from the outside, then that's all I'm bothered about right now. Okay, there is the back. And then on the front, I'm just going to trim this excess off in the middle here. It probably would have been a lot easier to demonstrate on this video if I'd used blue denim. And then I'm going to leave the edge raw because I don't mind if it frays on the edge. And there we go, one skirt. Okay, so skirt is finished to a level that I'm happy with. As you can see, these front seams overlap, and then I'm going to leave the hem raw. I took in the sides, and then if we flip it over, in the back, I ended up just doing a straight seam all the way down and taking it in a little bit at the back, and then just doing one seam all the way down, which got a bit of that rumpling at the back. Thank you so much for watching this video, watching me fumble my way through making this skirt. I'm really happy with it. I think I'm going to wear it quite a bit, especially as it's summer now and I really like the length, and now it's fitted a bit more to my waist. I can wear it either with tops tucked in or crop tops. So hopefully this has given you an idea of how you can upcycle your unwanted denim. Let me know if you give it a go, how it goes. Tag me in your pictures at Agnes London, and let me know if you want to see anything else. Let me know if you want me to upcycle jeans into anything else. Hopefully this video has shown you that I really use a lot of skill in making that skirt, so anything is possible. I did a few more alterations to it than I wanted to, but considering it wasn't my jeans and I didn't even try them on before trying to make them into a skirt, I think it went pretty well. I find that denim skirts are quite hard to find the right fit for me because I have quite a wide hips compared to my waist, so being able to make my own and alter my own is so much better because I can actually find clothes that fit me. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if you have any questions about anything I did or anything else you want to see from me, and make sure you subscribe as I'm going to be uploading a new video just like this one every single week. I'm also uploading short videos to my Instagram as well, so if you want shorter tutorials and you don't already follow me, go over to Instagram at Agnes London and follow me on there. See you next week.